If you're investigating a case and mysterious enemies want you to stop, you'd better be careful. Helen discovered that the first victim was actually a cooking babysitter. That day, she celebrated the employer's daughter's 7th birthday. The second victim was a mall janitor who personally escorted his son to school, hoping he'd succeed. Finally, he got his wish. On the day of the incident, he was planning to take his son to a football match to celebrate, a perfect role model. The third victim was a housewife who used the excuse of car repairs to step out and buy a watch. She wanted to give her husband a surprise for their 10-year anniversary, paying in cash to avoid leaving behind a trail like a guilty criminal. The fourth victim was a female contractor who hated her husband's construction company, but after he fell ill, she refused to sell the company to compete. She was handling loan paperwork that day. The fifth victim, an investment broker, argued with his wife on the first date and later apologized with flowers. But just like in the movies, trouble always shows up early. Helen was regretting taking this case and thought that Bar was definitely a scapegoat. But Jack's attitude did a complete 180. He realized it wasn't coincidence, there had to be a connection. For example, a broker and housewife might have an affair, as who buys flowers at work? Her anniversary's on the weekend. Using a credit card leaves no record, unless for a secret admirer. When the broker was shot, the housewife took 2 shock steps. Looks like they were chums. But Jack wasn't so sure, so he decided to check Bar's spending records to see where he hung out. The investigator focused on nearby shooting ranges. Meanwhile, in a dark alley, the curly-haired stalker handed docs to the real killer, Flathead. Upon hearing that the curly-haired guy took it upon himself to deal with Jack and ended up hitting a wall, Flathead was absolutely fuming. Their perfect plan was finally dashed by this moron. While the two were arguing, the real boss strolled out of the shadows. He made Curly eat his thumb to turn, like he did for survival. But Curly struggled and couldn't bite it off. Finally, Flathead stepped in, serving a bullet meal. Helen found from Bar's records he was a couch potato. Apart from weekly gas refills, he stayed indoors, a real safety control expert. But Jack found a clue. He asked Helen to search for shooting ranges within 200 km, at least 300 yards. He went to the gas shop where Sandy works to confirm questions. Seeing Jack at the door, Sandy freaked out and confessed all. Everything in the bar was designed by Jeb, but she hadn't seen him since. Jack realized the guy was definitely in trouble, so he asked Sandy to jot down Jeb's address and borrowed his sports car, warning her to lay low. Because something big was coming. Using his driver's license as a warrant, he barged into the house after her silent consent to search for clues. Little did he know that as soon as he entered, the old lady picked up the phone, revealing this person was actually a kite-flying expert. Jack looked at the emptied cabinets and torn lotus decorations. He suspected Jeb was in serious trouble. As he left, a blow hit his head, followed by 2 muscle heads barging in. After a chaotic brawl, the entire bathroom was in ruins, but somehow not a single hair on Jack was harmed. Truly, with as a sleeping dragon, there's bound to be a phoenix. After agreeing on an attack strategy, they accidentally pushed a teammate down the stairs. Jack almost chuckled, but he couldn't afford to watch their practice. He swiftly took down both, but just as he gasped, a rusty gun was at his head. It was the kid who ran away that night. Jack disarmed him expertly, politely asking about Jeb. Unfortunately, the kid only knew Jeb was meeting someone. Looked like the trail had gone cold again. Reluctantly, Jack had to borrow the kid's car, and just as he drove off, an Audi quietly followed behind. Jack then again sought Helen and asked her to submit all the investigation results, knowing Bar wasn't the real. Though Bar might not be the best sniper, he wouldn't make rookie mistakes. Shooting in the parking lot would be a dazzling nightmare due to the sun glare and pedestrians, so it wasn't the best sniping spot. The nearby overpass was better. No need to exit your car, no cameras, no fees. Plus, no need to worry about picking up phone casings, escaping would be easy. So, Jack suspected Bar wouldn't make a move in the parking lot. As for the intact bullets and the coin from the parking meter, it looked more like someone had intentionally placed them there to frame Bar for murder. If Bar really wanted to kill someone and end up in jail, he wouldn't ever pay for parking and would never miss. He'd choose his spot wisely. So Jack thought Bar was innocent, just a scapegoat. With such a perfect crime scene, who would bother to investigate closely? The Bar knew Jack would suspect him, which was why he sought Jack out. Jack had also been under surveillance lately, hinting that they might be the real masterminds. Jack asked Helen to check the car's license plate downstairs. They found a brake lead. It was registered to Lavender, the rival of the female executive. They targeted the executive's company, killed her after rejection, aiming for a perfect crime scene. Clearly, this person knew all about Bar. Jack was determined to uncover the real killer and clear Bar. Helen refused, insisting it was police work and she couldn't interfere as a lawyer. Forced to act alone, Jack didn't know killers had killed innocent Sandy, dumping her body downstairs at his hotel. When Jack was returning, he saw the Audi that had been tailing him didn't follow this time, making him uneasy. Sure enough, the hotel entrance was swarming with police. Seeing Sandy's body loaded, he realized had been framed again. At that moment, the kid emerged, gazes locked. The kid swiftly drew his gun, Jack reversed and fled. Chasing the Audi, Jack knew the killer was inside. Suddenly, the target vanished, and he was surrounded by police. Seeing a bus stop ahead, Jack quickly slid his car, then swaggered into the crowd, using the empty vehicle to distract the cops. A black man handed Jack a hat for disguise, while others blocked the view. With help, Jack slipped away from the kid. But guess what? He ended up on the city's wanted list. Next, Jack called Helen to explain that he had borrowed her car, and that among the 3 of them, there was a mole. Since the day he arrived, had been under surveillance with only 3 people aware of his whereabouts. Excluding Helen, the mole is the prosecutor or the kid. Jack found the shooting range via Helen's address. Martin, the owner, was a retired veteran. However, upon hearing Jack was there to inquire about Bar, Martin's demeanor took a noticeable chilly turn.